Thanks everybody for joining this call. This is another training for my members, and I hope we're going not to disappoint you. Last Tuesday, actually, we did a Q&A call, got quite a bit of good feedback, and also Tami is on the line with very nice content about packages. So with that said, I can take some questions. And one of the questions came up was in Lead Finder Jack. So let me switch over to Lead Finder Jack. Do you guys all see Lead Finder Jack now? So in search, there's an option to add a manual domain. And you can add that manual domain. I don't know. I just do something and then click OK, and you can enter multiple domains. And the question and the button is OK or cancel. Cancel is nothing get added, and OK, that domain get added to this campaign. But at this point, and nothing too much is going to happen. So you want to make sure that if you add the domain, you do that before the search starts. Okay, so you have to do that before the search starts. It is not like I add those domains and I only search those domains. That is not how it is programmed. I realized by this, putting that question up, you might think something different. So that's not how it works now. We might go to change that. I think there's some confusion about that, that if you add the domain, it only searches those domains. Now, when you do the dig deep, you do the dig deep for the complete campaign. Sometimes you get more emails than in the campaign. Now there is a feature what we added a half year ago, is if you go to campaigns, let me see if we can get results up. See, those are our results. And if a website has many pages, many pages, you probably like a Home Depot or a business directory. There's no reason to prospect them. So they're going to in the hide companies. They will not show up here. You can unhide the company by going to that campaign, and for example, this company is hided, and you can select it and unhide it. So what are the settings for hiding? So large companies, those are setting maximum search if they have more than 100 URLs on on a certain page, and they get hidden when they have more than 300 pages. So you see, 300 pages is pretty high. But there are many companies like Business Direct who have more than 300 pages. So if you say I want to purposely scrape a Business Direct or so, you just increase those numbers to high numbers. So I know it's very special, maybe too special, so that you don't need to know that. But it's something what came up as a question. Any other question before we ask Tami to come live on the call? Does Lead Finder Jack come with a sales dynamo jack? Yes, it does. When you have, let me bring the sales page up. So sales dynamic jack actually consists of two products, and that is local team jack and the biz lead finder. And the biz lead finder is the most complete version of lead finder jack. So with sales dynamic jack, you have everything. Okay, so I'm not sure where I explained that on the sales page. You get lead finder jack, the biz edition, and the local team jack. If for some reason something is not working, just send a support ticket and I'm going to check your license. Everybody got this? So with sales dynamic jack, you have everything. You have the biz version of lead finder jack, and you have local team jack enterprise. When bonus leader finder expires, will it automatically continue? I'm not sure what what your question is, Tony. Any other question? Is there a way to see the reviews that have been gathered for the business that shows reviews? Okay, so within lead finder jack, it will collect the reviews from Google+. So if you go to a company, let's see, yeah, this one has a review, 5-star review. Go to the company, you will see the overall score. It will not show on the back end what the actual review is, but what it does for you is in the email template, go to templates. If you do reputation marketing, you can click on reviews, bad review. You see that? Bad review. Automatically, the worst review of that company will get included in the email. The worst review by this token. But you can't see what the review is though. I think you cannot. I see that too now. So if you click on the I, you can see the overall score, but I don't think you can see it's in the database. It doesn't bring you to the foreground. If you really want that, we can make that available. I never had that question so far. If your target is reputation marketing, you might want to know that, but we could make an I here, something like that, to see the review. But we never had that question so far. I think it is important that you can include it in the email template. How do I add my own email so I can test it, try it, looked up to the business, not mine separate? How do I add my own email so I can test it? And okay, so in the campaigns, so let's say you have the campaign set up, you added an email, and now you wanted to see is how that email is looking like. You just select a company. With that selected a company, what you do is you want to see that company information in the email. And now you said, I want to test that email. I want to test that email. You just select one of their emails and start campaign. This email will get sent out to this email, to your email. And this email, you see jackhopman@gmail.com. You go to settings and there's user data. And that is where the email is entered. That is your email. So now you can see how that email, what you would send to the company, how that looks like in your own inbox. Are you planning to add Yellow for review search anytime soon? We haven't had that question often. So once we are done with major updates, I can do a survey and see how many you guys want that. So it pulls up the reviews from Google+. So do you guys think Yellow reviews are more important than Google+? So no, but we should do both. Why do we need to do both, Jimmy? I think in the email, you want to just show a bad review. So that I think just you want to hit them with a pain point. So I'm not saying Yelp is not important. So we might in the future. Okay, so we had that discussion. We had this discussion before 8 o'clock. I don't know if you were on this call or not, but let me ask you another important question. Okay? Which mail server should you use with Lead Finder Jack? Which mail server you get the best results with Lead Finder Jack? Tami's joking around. So, within emails, you set up a mail server. And you want to set up the Amazon. Okay? So, next Tuesday, in 2 days, if you are a user of Lead Finder Jack, you want to join the call and see the training about Amazon mail server, how to set it up. Do you guys like that training? You get the best results with the Amazon mail server. Okay, any other question before we let Tami jump on the call? Was it already given the training? No. The news about Lead Finder Jack, Amazon is pretty new. And we tried different mail server and We tried different mail servers, and Amazon, it just comes out the best. So the last question from Marilyn is, after I do a dig deep, if I click a column mobile, yes or no? 1 second. The question goes out of my view. After I do a dig deep, if I click column mobile, yes or no, that is accurate, or do I have to do a separate campaign to get whether site is mobile friendly? No, you just insert, you can click on search mobile before you do the dig deep. And while it's doing the dig deep, it checks if a site is mobile friendly. How many emails we can send with the Amazon mail server? I will go over all the details coming Tuesday. What is the column that also says mobile yes or no? So after you do a search mobile, to the dig deep with search mobile checked, you go to campaigns, and then this mobile yes or no. So the mobile, if they have yes or no, like see a yes, and I would only select yes. 1 second. You see, only a few are showing up. Can you have the mobile key checked? If someone else does not want, they can click it off. Can you have the mobile key checked, and if someone does not want it, they can click it off? Actually, it takes a lot of time to check if if a site is mobile friendly or not. So by default, we have it unchecked. Okay. So last question, if a business owner doesn't have a mobile website, can we create a responsive mobile site for them, their own original with Mobile Wizard Jack? Now, Mobile Wizard Jack in principle is a new website. So you have to take the content and put it, we have to take that content and put it in the new website. Or you create a subdomain, and if a mobile device hits that website, you redirect that to the new mobile website. And that is where I'm working on at the moment. I have mobile Team Jack not set up yet. So Tuesday about digital agency. How do I upgrade, transfer, or whatever? So if you want to have access to local Team Jack Enterprise, which has all the teams and also the digital website, and that digital website, that is just, I think it's one of my best products, which I see a lot of results. This website, the digital team, if you use it as your own homepage web, your website, which service you offer, and you are in discussion with a business owner, a prospect, they like to get more. They like you to provide more service. Everybody needs more business, and the content is written on such a way that they say, "Oh, you can do that? Yes, I want that too." So if you want to have access to that, this is the link. Okay, so with that said, I'm doing a Q&A call in 2 days again, and showing also how to set up Amazon. You guys got me motivated and triggered to do that. I don't want to have Tami waited longer, so let me get her on the call. Hi Tami, do you hear me? I might not hear you because... Okay, I hear you now perfectly.
Okay, good.
So
do you want me to go ahead and take over the screen?
Yeah, that's okay for me.
Okay, let me do that. Okay, just a second here. Okay. Whoops, show my screen. So can everybody see the screen debunking the myths? It's a couple. Okay, so somebody can hear me. Yes. Okay, great. Well, I'll go ahead and I'll try to make this pretty quick tonight. I'm actually out in the Pacific Northwest in Oregon, where I'm from. I'm going to just take a little bit of time tonight to talk about a few myths, because as I'm talking to people over the past week or so, I've had a lot of people who will tell me different problems that they have. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the myths or the limiting beliefs that we have about our ability to sell. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about some psychology of marketing and how you can apply it to the packages that you're going to create, so that you can start thinking about your good, better, best packages and understand some of the psychological reasons why people buy, and how you can apply that to the packages that you're creating. So I'm trying to give you some ideas. I'm not going to be telling you, okay, do a website and this, that, and the other thing and come up, for $9.97. That is not what I'm going to teach you. What I really want you to get is how you can think about putting your packages together in a logical way, so that there is a real reasoning behind the packages that you create, so that no matter what, when you get into a bind, you'll be able to just come up with something, a good, better, best package based on how and why people actually buy things. So I hope that you get a little bit of extra information out of this tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about a few myths. I've had people who tell me that they're depressed and they're too depressed to take action. So I guess my answer to that is, well, if you're having these types of issues where you can't get motivated to go out and sell, then, obviously you need to get some type of professional help that we certainly can't provide. But, take a look and see, what can you do if that really is an issue, because sometimes we get stuck behind our computers. So I just wanted to address that, just in terms of, if that's something that you're feeling, then it's something that you need to, step out of your comfort zone for. Another big myth is, I don't know how to close a sale. And I think it's because of the old techniques of selling, where you were told it was a numbers game and that you had to stick the pen in someone's hand and that you had to sell them. And what I'm finding is, the truth is, people do not like to be sold to. They like to buy stuff, and they like to be educated, and they want to be guided to make the best decision. And that's part of the things I'll be addressing tonight about the packages that you put together. And then there's another myth that you can sell everything just with an email or a website without ever talking to a human. Well, yes, you can, but you have to really have a really, really good email with a follow-up system, or a website with a follow-up system built into it, because especially if you're trying to work with mom and pop local businesses, these people like you to talk to them in person. They like to shake your hand. They like to get to know you. Most people will find that if they walk into a local business and just talk to people, pretty soon they'll say, well, yeah, I need a website. Oh, and you know what else I need? I also need search engine optimization. And by the way, do you do direct mail? Do you do printing? Do you do this? Can you help me with my other marketing? So all I want to say about the myth of selling everything via email, even if you're selling via email, you still have to have a follow-up system. And Jack's system with the email actually has a mechanism in it where it will tell you when people answer or open the email. That's when you pick up the phone and say, hi, I saw you open my email about the mobile website or about the website. Can I answer any questions for you? Then if you can answer their questions, which one of them may be how much, you can answer all their questions, get rid of all their hesitations, and you can actually close the sale at that point. But I think a lot of people have really high expectations for their email campaigns, thinking that they're going to close a bunch of sales just via the power of email. And I don't want to burst your bubble, but the truth is that you have to send out an awful lot of emails to get a sale, and if you never ever pick up the phone or follow up, your closing average is not going to be very good, because you have to realize who are you dealing with, who are the people, and how do they buy. So I just want you to think about that and know that you will have to follow up with the people you're sending your emails out to. Even if you have the best email in the world, if you're dealing with a local business person, you probably will have to talk to them. And then another big myth is, who would ever listen to me? This has to do with being fearful of talking to people about your services, talking to people about their website, or going out and meeting people or speaking to people so that you could actually sell them something. And it's a big limiting belief that many of us have, because when we were growing up, we were told, you know, good little boys and girls are seen and not heard. So we might have this fear of actually just speaking up and talking to people. And last week I shared a bunch of questions that you could ask people when you're just talking to them. And the best thing that I can advise, if you have this limiting belief of who would ever listen to me, is get yourself a few solid answers to common questions. Like, for example, if you're selling your local theme jack websites, you know all of the plus points of what makes that website an excellent website. I did a presentation about the 21 ways, and I used the local theme jack websites as the examples of why it was a good website. And you can go back and look at that and get some ideas about how to answer that question. So I just wanted to address that a little bit. And then personal selling is dead is another myth. And really, personal selling, whether it's via email, over the phone, or in person, obviously is not dead. Direct selling is one of the fastest growing forms of sales in the economy. And what you're doing when you're selling your local theme jack websites or your mobile marketing or your video is you are actually personally selling something, but you're not doing it in that icky used car salesman way. You're selling in an educational mode, which is really not selling at all, because you're giving people valuable information and helping them come to the logical decision, which is that you are the best person to serve them and that you can help them. So I want to move right into psychology of marketing and how to ethically persuade people to buy from you. And again, since I've been working with about 50 people in the mastermind group, I've really learned a lot about how people are using the information, and it's learn, engage, apply, prosper, or leap. And the leaps aren't big, they're very small. But if you learn a little bit, apply, engage with that learning, and then apply it, and then you can actually prosper with it. And I'm finding that the people who are actually following along step by step, talking to at least 10 people a week about their website products, if they're trying to get speaking engagements, they are coming back saying, hey, I have a client. So people are actually getting, like one client out of every 10 conversations. So I think that's something really important. So this is something I thought was really interesting from the founder of ProBlogger. He says, there are no magic wands, no hidden tricks, and no secret handshakes that can bring you immediate success. But with time, energy, and determination, you get there. And I think that's the absolute truth. There isn't any magic easy button, no magic wand. It's called work for a reason. Yes, there's a learning curve. You need to learn a lot in terms of if you're selling your mobile websites or your local theme jacks. You can look at it this way. You can focus on selling them and then fulfilling them after you sell them, or you can focus on the tech. But what's going to happen is if you're waiting until you know everything you need to know about your local theme jack websites, you're never going to get started. You have to start selling so that you can actually keep growing your business and get started. So I'm going to go ahead and go right into these principles. These are some basic principles that I think they're really valuable, because what I want you to do as you listen to me tonight is think about your packages that you're going to be developing, and I'm going to give you some examples of these different psychological principles and how you might apply them in the packages or how you do your sales presentations with people. Human beings are the people who will buy from you. So this is called the endowment effect. And what it is we value more what we own than what we don't own. For example, with a test drive or a free trial, for example, a test drive in a new car, we will, drive it, and the whole time you're in that car test driving it, the guy in the back seat is talking about how cool it is if you would own this car. So he's trying to put it into your head how cool it would be, you're owning the BMW or the Mercedes or whatever the car is. And then customers see something that they feel they already own. If they have to give it up, they see that as a negative. So think about what you can do if somebody, let's say that you do a results in advance website for them, and you do a demo website for them, and it has their name on it, it has their phone number, it has their address. That is an example of this effect. So think about what you could do. You could create the website demo, and the people they'll feel as if they already own it, because it already has their name on it and their address and everything, and they'll want to keep it. That's how you're able to sell to them, is because they want to keep it because it's already made for them. And another example would be if you were to have a video that you created for them and then you optimized it for them and you got it on page 1 of Google under their name or their keyword. They don't want to lose that because they'll feel as if they already own it. Reciprocity is really a huge one with people, because when you give someone something, they will feel obligated to give back to the person who gave them something. So for example, in content marketing, if you're giving away like the top 10 mistakes that people make when they choose HVAC or something, free PDF or something free. That's an example of reciprocity. You're giving something to someone, and then the expectation is that the customers will buy from you because they feel indebted to you for the gift that you already gave them. So that's another example would be when people come to your house and give you a free estimate, or they come and they will clean your gutters or something at a free or very, very reduced rate. People will generally go, oh, okay, go ahead and do the whole thing because you've given them something. So think about what I'm talking about and what you can do as you design your packages. Free information, a free website analysis, reputation reports are examples of that, and there are, of course, services available to get reputation reports. In terms of the free web presence analysis, what I personally do is I'll open up my browser and I'll open up, for example, their website, their Facebook, their LinkedIn, their YouTube, their Twitter, whatever they own in terms of digital assets. And of course, if they don't own any of those digital assets, I still open it up in order to show them that they don't own. For example, if they do not have a Facebook page, I'll be able to do what I call a free web presence analysis, and I do that with screenshots and a video product such as free Jing, Screencast-O-Matic, or Screener, and I might make anywhere from a 5-minute to 8-minute website analysis overview where I tell them what they need to do to fix their website. So for example, if it's not mobile friendly, I would say, okay, your website is not mobile friendly, you do not have any type of autoresponder set up, and then I might move on to Facebook and say, you have a Facebook, but you only have 20 people liking it. That could be improved, and I go through all of those different digital assets in this free web presence analysis, and then of course I give that to that person, and it helps them to get real information of value, and it also helps for them to want to do business with me because I've proven to them that I have an expertise. Consistency is important because what consistency is in your marketing, when you're talking to people, you always want to try to act in the way that people will think that we always act. For example, if you have a pop-up on your screen and you're asking the person a question, are you sure that you want to leave without getting this free information? Or a pop-up might come up and say, oh, you don't want to pay this. Oh, we'll give you $20 off at this price. And somebody may go, oh, well, for $20 off, I'll buy that. So, but it has to be a consistent message. So you want to always be consistent and say the same thing over and over again. It's just like in education. Certain concepts a teacher or professor will repeat because they're trying to make sure that you're getting the point across about something that's really, really important so that you can apply it in the future. For example, when I go out and speak to local businesses and they want to know about content brand marketing, I always say high quality, relevant content is always going to be valuable to you. So I'm always reinforcing the value of high quality, relevant content to people. So they will hear that over and over again so that they know that, oh, high quality, relevant content is important for my online content. The foot in the door strategy, and if you've been in the online or offline marketing business for a while, you've probably heard the term the foot in the door strategy. And this is basically when a salesperson asks ask the customer to make small, then progressively bigger decisions. And this does not necessarily happen in one day. It may be that when you go to meet somebody, the foot in the door, for example, could be your mobile website at $497 with hosting at $50 or something. Well, that is a foot in the door strategy, because the idea is not to only sell them a website and hosting. The idea is that the next step would be that you would say, well, you need additional content on your website. You need search engine optimization. You need videos. You need other services. You need all of your social media platforms. So your foot in the door strategy, of course, would be the one thing, a website with hosting. And like I said, very simple, like the mobile-ready website, or a video with a YouTube channel, or a video with a Facebook page. Those could be very small, simple foot-in-the-door strategies. The door-face strategy is a little bit different than foot-in-the-door, because door-in-the-face relies more on rejection. And this is one that a lot of people do inadvertently when you're brand new in local marketing. It's where you actually go in and you create this huge valuable package, and it's a large request, and then the person, of course, they don't know you, they don't like you, they don't really trust you yet, and they say, no, that's way too much. And so you say, well, I have this smaller package that may be better for you. And then a lot of times they'll say, oh, okay. So for example, if you have this huge package with a website, hosting, video, optimization, multiple videos for $10,000, and they say, whoa, that's a lot more than I thought. And it doesn't matter if they are a small company or even a large company, they might balk at that, because again, you're just walking in the door with this giant package. And so you say, oh, well, we'll go for a smaller package at, say, $5,000 or less. And because it's so much less than the first package, then they're less overwhelmed and more inclined to close it. When I first started out, I actually had packages that ranged from about $10,000 down to like $2,000 and then $997 a month. And what I found is that most of the people were willing to go with a setup of about $2,000 and about $1,000 a month if they were a company that was making $1 million a year or more. But I found that it scared people when I asked them for more than that if they didn't really know me yet. But after they got to know me, they were much more willing to expand what they were buying from me, because then I had proven myself. The Ben Franklin effect is interesting. This is where you ask for a favor without returning it. And what happens when you ask someone a favor, and I was actually reading a Dale Carnegie book today, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And in this book that he was actually talking about the Ben Franklin effect, but he wasn't calling it the Ben Franklin effect, but he was talking about how you can ask people for a favor, and it's like in the very first sentence of your email, it would be like, I really need to ask you a favor about X. And then, of course, then you go into what your problem is, and maybe it's related to that you really don't have a problem, but you need a favor. Please go and check to be sure that this site looks like this on your machine so that I can be sure. It can be something like that. But it's very interesting because people, when they bond with you over giving you favors, and there is no expectation that you're going to do them a favor back, That's the Ben Franklin effect. So it's like, can you help me? Can you answer a survey to help me? And people will try to help you, and then you can talk to them about whatever it is that you want to educate them about that you end up selling them on in the future. Loss aversion is another effect, and this is the endowment effect's negative, because of course we do not like to lose something, and we have a strong negative effect if we think that we're going to lose something. This would be how something like, for example, if you put those videos up and you get them ranked on first page of Google, and then you say, well, if you don't want it, we'll just take it down, or you don't like this demo, we'll just take it down, or let's say if they don't pay for their videos and they're late, well, we'll just take it down. People don't like to lose things, that especially if they have a perceived value. Scarcity is another thing that you can think about with your packages. And for example, if a supply is limited, people feel like they want to buy. And scarcity also boosts the value of a product if there's a limited number. And of course, it can be used unethically. So you don't use scarcity unless it's really true. And obviously, in a digital environment, you can't really say there's only 100 PDFs available, because you can just make more. But yes, things like there's only room for so many people because you can only talk to so many people at a time, that could be a real scarcity. Or if you're saying to someone, I will only work with one plumber in this zip code, because it would be unethical to work with more than one if you were ranking them to number one position, because you can only have one plumber in a number one position, or there are only 10 available, and then once these are gone, they're gone. So those are different examples of what how you might scarcity. And for example, with the mobile marketing, that you could say, well, I'm only going to work with one plumber in this area, one plastic surgeon, one of these people. And the way you can indicate that to people is to actually tell them all of their competition that you're sending that email to. I can only work with one plumber out of these 20 who serve this zip code, and then list them all. And then they'll see their competition listed, and you can bet there's going to be at least one person on that list that they could not stand to have getting the value that you could offer for them. And then social influence and conformity is also another psychological effect. And what that's based on is people are more likely to make a decision if others already have. So for example, if you sell a mobile website to John Smith, on 123 Main Street, and you go next door to the next place at 1234 Main Street, and you say, well, John Smith just bought a mobile website from me, the people you're telling that to are more apt to go, oh, really? John Smith, that because they're getting like a third-person credibility factor from that. And people seem to like to conform. It's just like with online reviews. People who have good reviews, people read them, and of course they use the good online reviews as a source to get more people to buy from them. So that's an example of social influence and conformity. And of course, word of mouth is another example of that. And then mere exposure. Mere exposure is basically the more we're exposed to something, the more we like it. And of course, product placement is an example of that. Retargeting is an example of mere exposure. If you retarget ads, like everyone who goes to somebody's website and you retarget them either with Facebook or Google ads, and all of a sudden they're seeing these ads all over the place. That's a prime example of the mere exposure example. The same thing as another example would be email that people will send you over and over again. Some people will send you an email once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day, whatever it may be. Other people will send you once a week, but the fact that you're getting information from that person over and over again is another example. The decoy effect is very useful, and I'm actually going to talk a little bit more about this, about your packaging, because this is how people, when they get choices, and you do not want to give people too many choices because a confused mind will not buy. And I know I've personally proven that to myself many, many times. If I cannot figure it out, I won't buy it until I go, oh, that's what, this is what it is. So they'll change their preference between 2 options when a 3rd option is added. And so you'll see this with price points. Maybe something is $99, $200, and $300, good, better, best. And then they'll say, this is the one that most people choose. It's the middle option. And normally the lowest price option is a bare bones option. Your middle option has everything the bare bones option has, plus some really good bells and whistles. And then the 3rd option is like the super duper deluxe model that people would probably say, oh, I can live without that. If I can save $100, I'll go with option B, or the better option. So I'm going to use an example of good, better, and best. So let's think about the local theme jack websites. So the good option would be that you would sell a local theme jack website in whatever niche it would be with hosting. So you would package that as a mobile responsive website. I think they're 5 pages or however many pages they are with hosting, and you would charge a setup fee and probably a monthly, or you could do an annual fee. Always add an annual fee as an option and give somebody a small discount when you're doing that, because a lot of times they will write a check for 12 months to save a little bit of money because they're budgeting that much money for that service. So the local theme jack website with hosting only might be your good package. Your better package might be a local theme jack website with hosting with 1 video and search engine optimization options. So again, it's better, but they're getting their website, they're getting their hosting, they're getting a video too, and they're getting some search engine optimization, which of course you can add into that by adding a plugin into your local theme jack because they're WordPress sites. So that could be your better option. And then your best option might be a local theme jack website with hosting, video, search engine optimization options, and content updates. Because your idea behind all of this is not to just get a one-time check. Your idea behind all of this is to get checks month after month after month from 1 client, 2 clients, 3 clients, at least 1 new client a week, which would be 52 clients in a year. So your idea is to have money coming in month after month, like on the 1st of the month or whatever, the 15th of the month, and then you're providing easy to provide services. Obviously, once you build your website and have it hosted, that's pretty easy to provide that information. If you make a video, that video could actually grow into multiple videos where maybe you're offering, we'll give you 1 video a month, and maybe that could grow into, we'll give you a YouTube channel, and we'll also offer distribution and video optimization. So there you've just grown your entire program from a simple website package to a website package with video, and then of course search engine optimization. Depending on how you want to do that, you can have that via video and blog posts or writing, so that you have high quality relevant content going into your website either on a weekly basis or a monthly basis or whatever it is, as long as it's consistent. And then of course you can grow your services from there, because you can also offer everything connected to your local ThemeJack website, such as Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. I think there's even a Skype that is attached to that website. So you could be looking at all of these little micro money maker funnels that can all start with your local ThemeJack website, because you've got ready-made websites that already have your starter content on them. But to keep them up in the search engines, you need activity. And that's why coming up with video and content updates would be a good package. I'm going to go ahead and move on to talk a little bit about framing. And of course, the way that you frame these videos, and I think this is really important, when I meant to say frame these websites, this is really important because it is not just a website that you're creating for these people. You are creating part of a marketing system that will get them more clients and customers. That's what they want. They don't want a website. They want more clients and customers. So it's really important as you create not only your packages, but your conversation starters, your emails, your speeches, your presentations, that you frame it in such a way that you're pointing out a problem that these local businesses have. And when I say local businesses, I'm talking about anywhere from a local mom and pop business to a huge corporation anywhere in the world, because technically all businesses are local businesses. And you want to frame it so that you, every single one of you, is the solution provider, and you're starting out with a simple foot in the door strategy. I have a mobile responsive website with hosting. Okay, let them get to know, like, and trust you, because trust is really important. And then you can go from there to add on all of the other services that you can provide. So framing is really important, because if you just go out there going, oh, I've got a website and buy my website, it isn't being framed for what it does and why they need it, because a website's a website, but unless it is converting clients into potential customers, or getting the phone to ring, or collecting emails, or connecting them to your Facebook, YouTube, or getting some action, then it's just a website. So I think framing is very important. And an example is actually what we just finished up with, and I'm actually working on some new content about what's next. You know, what else can we talk about besides this Google mobile friendly update? So you want to be thinking about, you know, how can you frame your services in this now post mobile friendly update atmosphere. And the truth is, as I've said before, April 21st was just a date. It did not begin or end on that date. So I want you to know that don't think it's over just because that date is passed. Now, when you're talking to people, you say you really need to know that you have to pay attention and be sure that your website is mobile friendly so that you can continue to rank, because even if they didn't fall off the edge of the world on April 21st, they still need to be aware that Google is paying attention. That did not change. it's still real. Another thing, and this goes back to the options related to the good, better, best. People will be overwhelmed with too many options. So if you can categorize all the options, like when you're putting your package together, like what they get in there, if you want to put more meat on the bone, I guess, under your basic package and itemize some things, just don't overdo it with details. People don't need to know about, oh, this is an HTML friendly or a PHP this or that. They don't. Believe me, if you start talking tech to business people, their eyes roll to the back of their head and glaze over, and they tune out, and they want you to go away because you're making their brain hurt. So give them information about why they need to be getting a nice mobile-friendly website, why they need to have content coming up every month, and why they need to have quality, relevant information, why they need videos. So limit your options, and so if you go in, don't try to sell them the moon. Say, let's start with the website and hosting, and then let's grow from there. And what happens, those people are going to be happy because you started them off small, and then you built from there. Another effect is called cognitive dissonance, and this is when things don't turn out the way you thought they would, and it prevents people. The reason you don't want this is because it happens after the sale, is when they don't think they got what they were buying. That's why you want to give them something small that's easy to fulfill, such as a website with hosting, because you can say, here's your website, you can see it, you've got your demo, and we need your information, we need your photos, and here's your hosting. And again, I always control the hosting. They don't need to go buy their own individual little hosting plan. You want to keep in control of the hosting so that you can always help them. And you also want to make sure that you don't give them all of the access to all of the things in the WordPress that they can break by doing stupid things, because if you don't have them on a monthly maintenance and they break the site, they're going to come back to you and say, my site doesn't work. And then you'll say, well, you're not paying a monthly maintenance. And they'll say, well, it's broken. Do something. And then you'll end up probably fixing it for nothing. Or if you charge for it at that point, they'll be mad at you. So make sure that you can, when you sell them their website with hosting, that you maintain the control of the basic back end. What they want control of is they want to be able to post their own photos. They want to be able to post their own information. They don't want to be in control of the stuff that can be broken, but they want to be able to post, so that is when a person who buys a website feels like they're held hostage. It isn't about the infrastructure of the website. It's about, I cannot post. I can't fix the typo that I see on the front page without going to the webmaster. That's what they don't like. They don't mind paying to keep it so that it doesn't get broken or hacked. So always have good customer service, good follow-up, and of course always attempt to make it a positive customer experience. And of course, remember, your customer, it's never about you, it's always about them. They're always thinking about themselves. And so when you're trying to come up with your packages, think about the buyer and what they need in order to have a positive experience, not only today, but every single day, every time they go use the site. And of course, they want you to always be there to help them and then they will be happy to pay you month after month. So I'm going to give you a little assignment, and I want you to pick out 3 of the principles that I talked about tonight and brainstorm how you might be able to apply some of those to your packaging. We talked about scarcity. We talked about the pricing, the good, better, best. Think about that, and then keep a notebook about what you think will work for you, and then apply it and see if applying some of these tactics actually helps you to not only educate but close a sale. So that is what I have for tonight. So if you have any questions, I'll certainly try to answer them. So Jack, let's see. Okay. The answer, Will, is yes. It's being recorded.
Okay, Jack is here. I think the sound works, correct, Tami?
As far as I know, yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so that
I can hear you very well.
Okay, so I answered I think most question in the chat box. I wanted to keep it about an hour. I plan to do a Q&A call coming Tuesday and speak about Amazon AWS. Who will come in? We will join that call coming Tuesday, so I know a little bit what then I can expect, and if you like that.
There's a question here from, I believe, Marilyn, talking about, I'm not really sure what she's talking about. Basically, Marilyn and everyone, when you're just starting out, and I know that we have people here who are pros, who've been doing this a while, and that the local theme jacks are the add-on to their existing businesses. But for those who are just starting out, if you're offering initially, you can do very, very well just offering a local theme jack niche website with hosting, and then as you grow and learn and develop, you can add on these other services. Don't let yourself become afraid that, oh my God, this is overwhelming, I couldn't go beyond this simple thing. Start simple and then add on as you go. And as you go and people ask for the services, then you can provide them once you actually have sold them, but you don't have to sell the services that you don't feel comfortable selling, because the very fact that a local theme jack website is so comprehensive in itself, you don't have to add on all these other services until you feel comfortable. You're talking about that you could do their website, give yourself 30 days to fulfill that, and then have them paying a small monthly hosting fee. And I don't talk about pricing, by the way, and the reason I don't do that is because wherever you are, the prices are going to be different depending upon your area. Some people may live in an area where $500 is what they can get. Other people might live in an area where $1,500 is what they can get. Other people might be able to get $5,000. That's research that you need to do for your area. If you're in a hometown, you have to scope it out and know what your economy is like. If you're selling to corporations, you have to do some research and understand the markets that you're dealing in. That's why I don't give package pricing, because I would be doing you a disservice by telling you a price when you could probably end up getting more money than what I might be able to get in my little teeny town that I live in. So that's why I don't give pricing. But you can certainly go online and look at other companies that are providing websites and hosting, and go see how much they're charging, and then say, okay, well, these people are charging $500. These people are charging $1,000. These are $5,000. Well, I'm going to charge X, and then you stand by it. And if you have a niche, meaning if you're focusing on one vertical, say plastic surgeons or attorneys, know that those are going to command higher prices because of the value of the client to them. You have to look at how much is a client worth to these people. For example, a plastic surgeon's lifetime value may be $20,000. The guy who owns the pizza shop's lifetime value maybe be $300, over the course of a year or something. So you have to know enough about who you're trying to sell to put your packages together. That's one reason why I always recommend that you have a look at niches as opposed to being the jack of all trades in a local town, because the attorney and the doctor and the pizza guy probably know each other, and they would start to talk, and then you could create some type of problems. David Smalls, it's absolutely feasible to go after corporate businesses. All a corporation is a business that is incorporated, and some of these businesses may have, let's say, an example of a corporation that certainly could use a whole bunch of mobile responsive niche-related websites would be, let's say, Benjamin Franklin Plumbing, or any type of business that may have multiple locations. In my own hometown, there are corporations that are making, not huge, maybe a couple $1 million a year, but maybe they have 2 locations. So that's never close your mind to who possibly could be your client. You could have the government could be your client, meaning you could be selling to cities, counties, states, federal government, all the different governmental agencies. You don't have to just sell websites, obviously. There are a lot of services in the local marketing arena that you can be selling. So look at who you are. That's another thing, that you always have to know who you are in order to know what you can sell, because you might be an expert. Maybe you used to be a journeyman plumber, or maybe you were worked in HVAC, or maybe you worked in the hospital, and you know all this underlying stuff that I don't know, because I've never done that. So always be open to, don't ever limit the idea of who your clients can be, because it could be anyone.
Okay, so let's everybody, thanks for the time, and thanks Tami for the great presentation. I don't want to make this call too long tonight. So Tuesday we have another webinar at 8 p.m. and I really appreciate if you guys can join that too, because I'm going to prepare some training for it, and there will also be a Q&A section on Tuesday.